Well, UConn was founded about 130 years ago as an agricultural school, and that mission continues here today on Horse Barn Hill and at the poultry unit where we are and where these chickens are mainly bred for their egg-laying ability.
The crowing that we hear behind us, this is a grant to crow about.
UConn is getting $10 million from the USDA to build a research center. Their mission, to reduce and eventually eliminate the use of antibiotics in chickens bred for their meat.
Consumers are concerned about what's in their food. More and more we see that and hear about that. So this is a really timely research project as well.
UConn will lead a partnership with about a dozen other universities. They'll explore increasing chicken production while improving chicken health, examining nutrition, water treatments, and infectious disease along the way.
And to ensure health and well-being locally, nationally, and globally.
Governor Ned Lamont was on hand for the announcement, which marks UConn's biggest ever grant.
That's why there are only 8 of these grants awarded around the country, and we're one of those 8 $10 million grants because of the excellence that UConn brings to this.
Broiler chickens, as they are called, often are injected with antibiotics to ward off disease and increase their growth. Some say eliminating antibiotics would result in more of a use of water, grain, land, and fertilizer, resulting in a bigger environmental footprint.
This is a research project based on how to reduce the number of antibiotics and then the outcomes that entails. So I think this is the right project for people who have those concerns and those questions.
UConn also announced today that they've received an all-time high of $280 million in research grants, and they plan to double that over the next 7 to 10 years. UConn also announced that they will be revealing their fall university reopening plan next week. Reporting in stores, Matt Caron, Fox 61 News.